learning Parsha Devarim. It's the first Parsha of the fifth book of the 5 books of Moses, which has got the same name, Devarim. Translation is the words. Devarim is words. And originally this book as a whole was called Mishnei Torah, meaning the repetition of or restatement of the whole Torah. Hence the Latin name of this book, Deuteronomy, a second law or a statement of the second law. It starts from the following. On the first of Shevat, Moshe begins his repetition of the Torah. For the next 36 days, which is all that is left of his life, he assembled the new young generation of Israel, and he conducts a review of the events that occurred and the laws that were given in the course of the 40 years journey from Egypt to Sinai and then to the Promised Land. He rebukes the people for their failings and iniquities and urges them to keep the Torah and observe its commandments in the land that God is giving them as an eternal heritage into which they shall cross after his death. He states all of this loud and clear. Moshe recalls his appointment of judges and magistrates, the sending of the spies to spy out the land, and the people's subsequent Lushan Hora regarding the promised land as a result of the spies' report, so that God decreed that the entire generation of the Exodus will die in the desert and will never enter the promised land except Joshua and Caleb. Moses also recounts some more recent events: the refusal of the nations of Moab and Ammon to allow Israelites to pass through their countries, the wars against the Amorite kings Sihon and Og, and the settlement of the tribes of Reuben and Gad, and then later half of the tribe of Menashe, on the eastern banks of Jordan River, as part of their inheritance of the land in Israel. And Moses sends a message to his successor Joshua. He introduces him, passes to him all the controls of leadership of the Jewish people, and he tells that Joshua will take the people into the land and lead them into the battles of conquest of the promised land. And he says to him, this is his direct message to Joshua: fear them not, for the Lord your God, he shall fight for you. And that's the basic content of this parsha. There is a major difference between all the previous books of the 5 books of Torah and this book. The first 4 books were transmitted by Hashem through Moshe's throat. So he was acting in his incredible prophetic capacity. That's all. In Devarim, Moshe acts as a Moshe Rabbeinu, as we call him, the teacher. To this day, whenever we mention Moshe, we say Moshe Rabbeinu. He processed Hashem's message through his soul and his intellectual capabilities and transmits the final result to the Israelites. So it's his personal interpretation, basically, of everything what has taken place prior. Judaism is a collective faith, the faith of community, people, the faith of a nation, with Torah in our hearts and in our minds. That's what it meant to be. Judaism is a system of people learning to speak to each other and to Hashem, to God. And here Moshe starts addressing the Jews not as children of Israel, but he calls them simply Israel. This has got very deep significance. The shift in the book of Devarim from the children of Israel, Bnai Israel, to Israel, Lechol Israel, is very, very important. It's a shift from a group of individuals with a common ancestry. They're all children of Yaakov, through different 12 tribes, to a nation bound by collective responsibility. God did not choose, nor did he make a covenant with any individuals or a group of individuals, just the righteous or the holy or the pure or the innocent and maybe upright, upstanding citizens. No. He made the covenant with the entire people. Righteous and maybe not so righteous yet. You like me. I don't consider myself absolutely righteous. I'm a sinner too. What we are seeing here is that in the last 36 days of his life, Moshe has changed actually his profession. He, from a leader of the people, miracle maker, prophet, provider of the direct connection to God, he becomes simply a teacher, Rabbeinu, the teacher of the generation which was in front of him and all future generations, including you and me, us. This is why we call him Moshe Rabbeinu. What Torah is telling us is that the teaching profession is one of the most important in our civilization. Teachers are the people who teach our future generations not only the basics of mathematics, science, languages. That's simple. They give the young minds their first glimpses at their future adult values system. They give them a level of understanding of the world, understanding what is good and what is bad, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Unfortunately, due to many reasons, the teaching profession, particularly in the primary schools around the world, everywhere, is badly undervalued. The salaries are very low. For instance, comparing to the soccer players or rugby players or movie stars or doctors, for instance, there is a huge difference between the value of these professions from human aspects of our civilization perspective. The sports people, for instance, provide entertainment and supposed to be examples of behavior for the youngsters, which is not the case actually very often, because all we hear in the news about the rapes and the drunken parties and so on and so on. Doctors look after our physical health, very important, or our bodies, generally speaking. However, the teachers, they develop our brains, our social skills, and our general perceptions of the society. One of the more intelligent Hollywood actors and producers, Samuel L. Jackson, said the following, actually relatively recently, while talking about music. He was talking about rap music. And this is what he said. It is possible, if we would pay less to the rappers and more to the teachers, there would be more intelligent, clever people and much less of terrible music. I agree with him. 1000%. If our civilization pays minimum to the teachers, whether it's religious teachers or secular, it gets minimum quality level of teaching and less than average intelligence teachers, and some of them with very perverted and crazy ideas which they implant into the youngsters' minds. Dangerous. This is why our younger generations having a lot of learning, psychological and intellectual problems, resulting in anger, riots, thuggery, immorality, sexual disorientation. I am gender fluid. What does that mean? That a total stupidity. And so on. In religious education, where the children come with some positive moral foundations from their families, if the teacher is not capable to inspire the young minds, they may turn away from their respective religion, whether it's Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, doesn't matter. When a Jewish studies lesson in school is boring and delivered on a mediocre level, it may result in children turning away from God and from Torah, or in Christian case from the Bible, or in Islamic case from the Quran. Exactly the opposite of what was intended, to give the children the religious education. Often I am fairly negative about the world in general in my blogs. I realize that. I'm not only negative about the whole world, I'm negative sometimes about the Jewish community, specifically our current state of affairs. We all talk a lot about the anti-Semitism and the ongoing hatred of Jews and Israel, the intermarriage problems resulting in children being confused and finding it difficult to determine who am I. Am I a Jew? Am I a Christian? Am I a Muslim? Am I a Buddhist? Or maybe I belong to some, interstellar religion. I don't know. Whatever it is. Disunity of Jewish people and baseless hatred between the branches of Judaism and much more. These are all the topics of conversations rotating around the communities. But what is the outcome of all of these conversations? Nothing. Why is it what is it we Jews do to correct all of these problems and issues? We are the nation of priests and the holy nation. We are the ones who are supposed to do something. So, in my humble attempt to help, maybe, in some way, I decided to provide a simple advice to all of you who watch my Chaim's Torah blog videos. And I hope you press on subscribe on YouTube when you're watching it. Just maybe there is one other reason why God provided us with the internet. If you want to learn Torah, we can go to wonderful websites and pick and choose whoever we like, our teachers and the topics as well. And here are some examples. The first one on the screen, the website called Simple to Remember, all one word, simpletoremember.com. This is a homepage with a brilliant video. The whole website has got a homepage and starts with that video, The Mystery of the Jews. Interesting, watch it. There are a number of very good rabbis in this website presenting on all sorts of topics. They will make you laugh and cry. And you may agree or disagree with some of them, but this website is definitely not boring and will not give you, trying to prove to you a point, will not give you a mushal after a mushal after a mushal, never coming to final resolution of what the point is. No, I did not find anybody in there doing that. Then there is another website called itsgoodtoknow.org. This is Rabbi Menis Friedman's website. He is a Chabad Rabbi. He is brilliant, often controversial, excellent presenter, and an excellent teacher. And last, of course, last but not least, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs left us a huge inheritance in his incredible articles and books on all topics of life on his website, rabbisachs.org. So, my dear friends, happy learning. Watch videos, listen to them. You're going for a walk, you can listen the same way as I am listening. And you can learn something. So when you're going for a walk and listening to a rabbi, it's a good idea because you're doing two things at the same time. You're becoming physically active and you satisfying your neshama. Your mind and your soul are learning. Shabbat Shalom.
Ada